guys, welcome back. In April, I read one of my favorite books of the year and maybe almost one of my favorite books ever, and that was The Ornithologist Field Guide to Love. And when I read this, I said it reminded me of something like Romancing the Stone. It had like the academic vibes like you would have in Indiana Jones or the Mummy. Also like the action adventure type stuff. The fact that they get themselves into these situations where they're like being, what do you call getting carjacked when you're in a carriage? Carriage jacked? I don't know. That kind of stuff. Like those kind of silly over the top situations. And so I decided I wanted to do a vlog where I am looking for books that remind me of Indiana Jones and the Mummy. Therefore, I had to get this shirt. Like, it's perfect. But I want it to have like rom-com feels as well. In these books, I am specifically looking for the adventure like you find in Indiana Jones, going through the temples and busting tiles out in libraries and finding catacombs and that kind of thing. I'm looking for that, but with a romance similar to Evie and O'Connell from The Mummy. If it takes place in Egypt at any point in time, that's also a plus because I love ancient Egypt and all of the history and the mythology and stuff like that. But I want it to have the rom-com feel. I want it to be funny, like Romancing the Stone. So I'm looking for a combination of those three things in this vlog, and I have some possible books that I'm hoping give me these vibes. So let's check out the TBR. So first up we have Raiders of the Lost Heart, which I thought was hilarious. The first one is Raiders of the Lost Heart. The second one is Temple of Swoon. And the last one is The Lust Crusade. And I just think that that is perfect as a huge Indiana Jones fan. And of course, the third one is my favorite. So I feel like I need to read all of these and get to that last one. This one is about two rival archaeologists that end up on the same dig. And they like hate each other. So apparently this is going to be an enemies to lovers situation. Then, keeping with the Indiana Jones coded books, I got this one on my Kindle. This one's called Digging Dr. Jones. And in this one, the girl mistakenly receives a bracelet thinking it's for her. She puts it on and then she's stuck in it. Turns out the bracelet is like a key to open some kind of a chest or something. So this archaeologist that's on this treasure hunt is going to have to take her with him so that he has the key that she has on her wrist. Then of course we are definitely going to be reading the second book in this I think it's Love's Academic. Yeah. In this one, the two main characters are in like an arranged marriage situation. So I feel like that one will be a little bit different. I have high hopes for this one because the first one was so good. I'm hoping that this one is like the best one of the vlog, hopefully, but we'll see. I also have Empire of Shadows. This one says that it is perfect for fans of Romancing the Stone and the Mummy. So I'm hoping that this one definitely gives the vibes that I'm looking for. I think she is an archaeologist and she discovers a map to these ruins. It is like raining so loud. But there are bad guys that also want to go to the ruins because there's some kind of like arcane secret that is hidden in these ruins as well. So I'm super excited about this one. I have definitely wanted to read this one. And then in my research, I found out that they actually wrote a book version of Romancing the Stone. I got this used so it doesn't have the dust jacket on it. And they also had the Jewel of the Nile. So I'm gonna wait until the end of the vlog to read these because novelization of movies can be hit or miss. So I'm gonna hold them to the end. But they definitely should give the Romancing the Stone vibes that I'm looking for, because they're based off of those movies. There are 2 books that I feel could go with this TBR. Oh my god. It's so loud. Anyways, there were 2 books that I've already read that could have gone with this TBR, and that is What the River Knows and Where the Library Hides. These were not really hits for me though. The only thing that it had in common with The Mummy, which is like what it was sold as, is like for fans of The Mummy. The only thing that it had in common with The Mummy is that it took place in Egypt. That was it. So I hope that my experience with these is better than my experience with those 2 books. And I don't know, I may do some more research and add some more things to this list. Oh my gosh, I guess it's good reading weather with all that rain. First up is Raiders of the Lost Heart, and this one, of course, is one that is supposedly very Indiana Jones coded. So in this one, you have 2 rival archaeologists that end up on the same dig. So the female main character is Corey, and she's been invited to this dig in Mexico, and they're looking for the remains of her long lost ancestor Chamali, I think is how you pronounce that. And so she decides that she's going to go because this is like her lifelong goal, to find this person, because there's some like mystery behind what happened to him. And then also she believes that she might be his descendant or whatever. So they convince her to go on this dig, but when she gets there, she realizes that the other, like the head archaeologist on this dig, is her like rival. They were like rivals back in the day, and you can tell that something happened between them, because they were like it keeps talking about that night in the library, so something happened to make them enemies, but we don't know what it is. And just from the very beginning so far, it seems interesting. Like, I want to know what happened. I don't know how much it's going to be like Indiana Jones though, other than the title, so we'll see if I feel any differently about that as I read it. Okay, so it's been a while since I've worked on this vlog. I don't know what happened. August just got away from me. It was, I don't know. I still don't know what happened. Anyways, so just to recap in my head, I read Raiders of the Lost Heart. I gave it 4 stars. And I read Digging Dr. Jones, and I gave it 4 stars. Just in case I did not tell you about these, because I can't remember, and I'm not going to go back through. In Digging Dr. Jones, the woman is on like vacation with her brother, and she has like a store that she's trying to keep open, but the guy that was like her investor or whatever, and maybe even her boyfriend, I can't remember that part, decides to kind of walk away from the project. So she's not able to afford keeping it by herself. So they're kind of on vacation, a little de-stress situation, and a bracelet comes in a package, and she puts it on, and then she can't get it off. Well, it turns out that her name is Andrea, I think Andrea Jones, and his name is Andrew Jones, and the address on the packaging was like smudged or whatever, and so it was supposed to go to Dr. Andrew Jones, and she got it by mistake. And since the bracelet won't come off, but it's like the key to this treasure that he's looking for, she is going to go with him. He is going to pay her to go with him to search for this treasure, because once she uses the bracelet to unlock the chest, it is supposed to come off. So this one, I liked this one better as far as what I'm looking for, that like rom-com feeling. This one I think was better than this. It definitely had some of those like Romancing the Stone vibes that I was looking for. There's like another rival archaeologist that's also after this treasure, and they kind of like keep having run-ins with them. And then what I was looking for in my Indiana Jones picks was like the going through tunnels and the crypts and like all of those little things that you get like from the Indiana Jones movies. And this book had a lot of those situations. At first, she thinks that he's married because she sees him with a woman and a little girl. So she thinks that that's his family, but it turns out that that's his sister and niece. And so once that comes out, they kind of like, start a relationship. And I really enjoyed that part too. But I did read both of those. Now, I am going to be changing up my TBR just a little bit, because I found some other books. Since the Ornithologist Field Guide to Love reminded me so much of Romancing the Stone, I'm going to read this as one of my Romancing the Stone picks. And then I was going to read the novelization of Romancing the Stone, but I feel like reading the novelization of the movie is not really what I was trying to do. So I actually was doing some research today, and I found this book, Romancing Miss Stone, and I'm going to read that one instead, and I'm really excited about it. So 2 books down, 4 books to go, and hopefully this will get me back on track. So Josh is racing tonight. The boys went with him, so I'm here by myself in the quiet, which is perfect. So now I'm going to put on an audiobook and see, that's funny, see how much I can crochet on this blanket before they get home. So it's raining, so I don't know if they might not be home early, but hopefully I can at least get a good bit knocked out. I am going to put on the audiobook for the Geographer's Map to Romance, and I'm going to listen to that while I work on my blanket. So the boys are on their way home. They'll be here in probably 30 minutes or so. It's about midnight, and I have made it to row 154 in my blanket. And I think I'm like, not quite 50%, but 40-something% of the way through my book. I would like it so far. I like the fact that these characters are married, and it was a marriage of convenience, and it's kind of funny how it like kind of fell apart. So they're like estranged or whatever. So they typically avoid each other, but they both have been sent on this like expedition or whatever, because there's like a magical energy source or whatever that's kind of going haywire. The way that the magic system works in this world, it's there's like these ley lines, and something has like got the magic going kind of crazy, and it's like flooding into the world basically, and like crazy things are happening. So they've been sent to kind of see if they can kind of rein it in a little bit until help comes to fix it. And of course, when they get to where they're going, they have to share a room, and it's a one bed situation, and it's really funny because, you know, they're estranged. They haven't been together since they first got married. And she's like, well, maybe if we hug, it'll desensitize us, you know, so that we can sleep in the same bed. And so he's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea in the name of science, you know. So they're hugging each other, and he's like, this is taking longer than I thought it would. And she starts talking about the telescope in his pocket. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. And just the writing is so whimsical. It's fun. Just like in the first book, there are things that they say and then they're like scratched out, or like, she'll think something and part of it's in italics, and it'll say something like, but she could only think about the italics, and the italics were something like, he said my name, he talked to his family about me, that kind of thing. So it's really cute. Even though they are already married, it's been a really good slow burn, like yearning for each other. It's really funny because they both say, you know, like, oh, I can't hug my husband, I can't kiss my husband, or I can't kiss my wife, or I shouldn't be thinking this way about my wife. And it's hilarious because it's like, you're married, so it's like, you know, it's okay, but it's not, because they both think that the other person like doesn't like them, or like just flat out hates them for whatever reason. And so it's really cute. Now, the rom-com-esque vibes from the first one are not quite there as much, where, you know, in the first one you had these people kind of in the background that it would like cut to them sometimes, and they were like creating these situations where the two main characters would be put together, and they're kind of like egging it on and trying to like fix them up, basically. That is kind of missing from this one. The fact that in the last one, all of the ornithologists are kind of like in this, you know, big competition. So they're like running into each other in places and, you know, trying to sabotage each other and stuff like that. Like, that part of it is missing, and I do miss that aspect of it. But I feel like the quirkiness of these characters and the slow burn and the yearning that they have for each other, I do think it kind of does make up for it a little bit. I am really loving it. It's definitely going to be a 4-star, maybe even a 5-star. It depends on how it goes from here. So anyways, I'm going to get back to crocheting. I'm going to try to stay up tonight and get as much done as I can. It's already almost midnight, but I can probably get out another hour or two at least. So I'm going to see how far I can get in that time. And hopefully by the end of this weekend, I will be done crocheting the blanket. And then after that, I just have to straighten it up and put it back on it. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done and get my pictures done and turned in by next Saturday. I think it's the deadline. Today we are doing our book club meeting for the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and I'm currently driving back to my house. Oh wow, that's like very dirty and streaky. I didn't realize that. Anyways, focused. I'm going back to my house because my sister is making cinnamon rolls, but she forgot the stuff for the icing. Well, she made the icing, she forgot the icing. So I'm going to my house to get some things that she needs to make the icing for the cinnamon rolls. Regardless, you don't need to know that in this vlog. You need to know that in the readathon vlog, because I'm doing 2 vlogs simultaneously and I'm doing the same books for each one. So more Hot Mess Express content from Tracy for you and yours. So anyways, was actually like a comp or not for this book. But if it was, it's not really giving those vibes. Like, sort of, but sort of gender swapped a little bit. Like, this guy, at the very beginning of the book, his girlfriend just, like, breaks up with him over text. And they've been, like, dating for 7 years, and he proposed, and at first she accepted, but then she was like, you know, I don't think this is for me, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so then, like, she's on an archaeological dig in Belize, I think, and so then it cuts to somebody that's in Belize, and at first I thought it was going to be like her, and I was like, oh no, I am not about to root for this girl that broke up with him over text, but thankfully not. Your female main character is like a tour guide, like an adventurer type, and so her dad has passed away and left her like the business, so to speak, and so she is giving like these adventure tours and things like that, and she currently owes a lot of people a lot of money, the business is going under, blah blah blah, that whole, you know, setup. So this man offers her money to take him to the archaeological dig site in Belize so that he can talk to his ex-fiance that broke up with him over text to like get her back. So that aspect of it, I'm like, I don't really like that. And the fact that the guy is like I mean, I guess I'm not going to say that the fact that the guy is very anxious and all is like a turnoff, but I don't know. They had to they didn't have to gender swap Romancing the Stone, but they kind of did. So like where in the movie, the woman is the one that she's like going to, is it Belize? I don't even remember. I've got to rewatch the movie for this vlog. So she is going to the jungle, wherever, to save her sister because her sister's been kidnapped, right? And the guy ends up kind of helping her to find her, but the guy also is like thinking he's going to double cross her, right? So it's like kind of gender swapped. Like, he's the one that's going there for a reason, but he's not going back to like save somebody. He's going back to like get his ex-girlfriend back. One of the things that I really liked about the movie was like the humor involved, like the things that they would, the like incidents that they would get into, like the trouble that they would get into. It was all very kind of funny, and that's what I really liked about the book that kind of set this whole thing up. Like, it was hilarious. I loved that about that book, but I'm missing that from this book, and I feel like to an extent, like I can't knock her, the author, for like not giving me the movie or like something very similar to the movie, but I picked up Romancing Miss Stone because I thought it was going to be like Romancing the Stone. So, you know, I just, like I said, I'm only 30% of the way through it. So there may be some action adventure kind of like humorous stuff to come. But the point where I am right now, they have kind of gotten stranded a little bit. Like, the Jeep had flat tires, so they had to take the dirt bike to a friend's place. And then, of course, there's this like festival going on, so the friend can't leave to come help her bring tires for the Jeep, and also can't loan her a vehicle because all of the streets are shut down for this festival. So anyways, like, they're kind of in this like forced proximity situation, which the whole thing kind of is, because she's taking him on this trip to wind to his ex and get her back, but they're now like definitely going to be forced proximity because it hasn't like mentioned it, but like they're in this bungalow thing, and it's a one-room bungalow, and there's one bed. I think there's like a love seat couch, and so I'm assuming there's going to be a one-bed situation. I don't know, there might not be, but got to go unlock the gate. I think my keys are on. Hold on. Okay. So anyways, like I said, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's similar to the movie, but it's not enough like the movie for me. And it's okay, but I'm not loving it right now. But anyways, I gotta run in the house and get some stuff, and I'll be back later. So I did finish Romancing Miss Stone last night. I watched Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 with the boys. So we were up until like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I did finally finish it. It was a 3-star read again. I mean, it was not bad as far as, you know, like a contemporary romance or whatever, but definitely was not like Romancing the Stone. I would assume, based off of the fact that it's Romancing Miss Stone, Romancing the Stone, like, I would assume that it was going to be a little bit more like the movie. I think it would have been better if the guy got dumped because he was, like, too safe, and he was always, like, worried about the future and never living in the moment, whatever. And so he decided that he was going to take all of the money that they saved up, and he was going to go on, like, this, like, wild and crazy adventure, like, danger, the whole 9 yards, right? And so he goes to Belize, and he finds the best extreme adventure tour guide, and it happens to be Alex, the female main character. And now Alex has gotten herself into a bad situation because her boyfriend borrowed money from the wrong people and then left. And so now they're after her. And she agrees to take this man on the trip so that she can get the money to pay these people back. But along the way, these people are, like, trying to get them. Like, he's sending people after them, trying to, like, kidnap her or whatever, or sabotage I don't know, something. Like, along the way to this man's the final destination where he wants to go, these Mayan ruins or whatever, like, people are trying to attack her, like, kidnap her or whatever. Or maybe she has found this, like, treasure map or something, and, like, she knows where this ancient Mayan treasure or something, like City of El Dorado kind of thing, is located, or he does. He goes on this trip and he thinks that he knows, and she realizes he actually has a legitimate map. And so they're going and they're trying to find the treasure, and along the way these, like, bad people are trying to attack them. Like, either scenario works as long as they're, like, running into these situations where they're, like, barely escaping every time, but in a funny way, like it's over the top, kind of ridiculous a little bit. And then finally at the end, they get the treasure, or they pay off the man, or he comes to, like, some kind of ridiculous end, and they don't have to pay him back anymore, and they live happily ever after. That would be better. It's not quite like the movie because she's not trying to, like, rescue her sister or anything, but it's similar enough that I think it would have been a better, like, comp title. But I don't have time to write that. So somebody out there, you're welcome to take that idea and write a book out of it. Because book number 1 for Romancing the Stone was a 4-star, even though it did not give Romancing the Stone vibes at all. So the Geographer's Map to Romance was a win, but it still didn't quite give me the same vibes that the first one did. And then the second book for Romancing the Stone, which was Romancing Miss Stone, was kind of a little bit of a miss with a 3-star. It was just okay. So now we are moving on to the 2 books that are the most like The Mummy, or potentially, hopefully, give Mummy vibes. So I'm reading the first one. It's actually pretty funny because my sister sent this list of books that were like The Mummy, because our brains are just like on the same wavelength. And I was like, wow, I'm like literally doing a vlog where I'm trying to find books that are like that movie. And so one of the books on there I had already read, which again was What the River Knows and Where the Library Hides. That duology to me did not give Mummy vibes. The only thing that was similar to The Mummy is the fact that it was set in Egypt. Other than that, no. The romance was definitely not like Evie and O'Connell, and that is what I want, because that was the best part of The Mummy. Okay? So the first book that I'm currently reading is Hidden Treasure. I think it's called Hidden Treasure. Something like that, but it's supposed to be similar to The Mummy. So I started this book, I think it's Hidden Treasure. I started it a while back. Like, I started it whenever I got to the point where I put the vlog concept on hold. But in the very beginning, she is like trying to get this job, I think basically as like a head archaeologist or whatever. And so, you know, the guy's basically like, you're a woman, you don't have any experience, it's gonna be very rough, blah blah blah. And then this guy walks in, and then the man is basically telling him that the woman got the job and that he was going to be her bodyguard. So far, they have like traveled to the dig site, or the like tomb, whatever it is that they're going to. I forget. So far, I'm not feeling mummy vibes though. Other than the fact that she's like an academic who is not being taken seriously because she's a woman and she doesn't have a whole lot of experience. Other than that, it's not giving me mummy vibes yet, but I don't know, they haven't started like excavating the tomb or whatever, but already the male main character was like, it's a good thing that she wouldn't ask me for anything because I would give it to her. She asked me for the moon, I would find a ladder. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna try to get through this book while I clean up some. It is a disaster area around here. So I need to kind of clean up, have a reset, and I need to finish both of the Mummy books. So I'm gonna do that. So I am cooking supper. I'm listening, wow, that's a look. I am listening to Guarded Treasure, but I don't think there's an audiobook for it. If there is, I couldn't find it. So I'm having to listen through the Alexa app, which doesn't necessarily bother me. The only issue is you can't speed it up. So that part kind of sucks a little bit. But I do want to finish this one before I start the next one, since I am reading the two Mummy books I don't want to read them at the same time and kind of get them mixed up. So I don't know, I think I'm maybe 25-30% of the way through it. So I am gonna listen while I cook supper, and then I think I'll listen while I start cleaning out my office. I've like been doing like a really big deep clean and reorganization of stuff around the house, but I've still got to do my office, which is the room I've been putting off because it is very messy. Everything's just been piled in there. But I think I'm gonna make a caramel apple Rebel dupe with my Red Bull, but the flavor's not quite the same. But I want a caramel apple Rebel so bad. It hurts my feelings every time people are like, ew, that's disgusting, I hate that, don't bring it back. And I'm like, that's my favorite one. It was the first ever Dutch Bros drink I ever drank. Not had one in a year, and I want one really bad. Oh, I should probably tell you why I pressed record. Update. The only time this really gives me mummy vibes is when it describes their clothing. It's very obvious that the female main character looks like Evelyn and the male main character looks like O'Connell. And there was one point where she finally went out to the dig site for the first time, and this tomb is actually like underwater, and so that's why like nobody wants to take this job. But anyways, they're there for the first time and they see the Magi, and I was like, okay. So we did get some mummy vibes there. And then also there is a curse on the tomb, so like anybody that's ever tried to go in, they end up dying, and they all die in the same way, which I thought was a pretty good touch. So maybe it will get a little bit better. I think right now I'm still at like a 3-star rating altogether, but we'll see. So they just went into the tomb, and it is giving a little bit more mummy vibes, I have to say. She had like a vision. Now that we are getting more than just the clothes giving the same vibe, I might like it. I might like it better now. So there might actually be a mummy. I would love that. I would love for there to actually be a mummy, because I kind of thought about it in like with the Indiana Jones. There is that like supernatural element to it, like the Ark of the Covenant like actually like kills all the Nazis that one time, so like that like supernatural aspect to it was missing from both of the books that were like the Indiana Jones books, and so I really hope that that's in this book. Okay, so I finished up Guarded Treasure. Okay, pretty sure it's Guarded Treasure. I finished that up. It was okay. I'm giving it a 4 because the vibes did get there. It's probably, again, one of those that it's more of a 3.5. But I'll round it up to a 4 because I was enjoying it by the end as far as the mummy vibes. But now it is time for the final book of the vlog. So hopefully this is a win. I read this entire book and did not update you a single time because I started it and just kind of devoured the whole entire thing all at once. I loved it. It was great. 5 stars. First 5-star book of the vlog. So I guess I saved the best for last. This was perfect. It was exactly what I was looking for. In the beginning, she actually gets herself arrested because she is joining this women's suffrage protest and like chains herself to the doors of Parliament. And then of course she loses her job. But when she is being fired from her job, she ends up coming across this map, and very quickly she is being chased for this map, and she has to make like this split-second decision to leave and actually follow the map before this person gets it. And meanwhile, this person follows her and at one point in time kidnaps her, and she escapes. And so it had those vibes of like they had this bad guy that they were trying to get away from and escape from. But at the same time, it kept that humor. Like some of the situations they were getting into were kind of humorous. Like she gets kidnapped and tied up, but she is able to escape. And she basically like falls into the male main character's lap, really and truly, when she does escape. And so just like little situations where they are in danger, but they do make it humorous. And then of course there was the situation where they got to the city and they ended up in a situation where they had to go through basically this like obstacle course that was set up for the people like back in the time, you know, that they were at this city and they were proving their worth or whatever. And so there were different trials that were like based off of like mythology stories. And so it had that aspect of it, like from Indiana Jones. It had the romance and the relationship vibes like you get from The Mummy. And then also it had that like humorous adventure that you get from Romancing the Stone. So this was definitely the best book of the vlog, and I am so happy that I read this one. And thankful that I got to end it on such a high note, because that is the end of the Romancing the Books vlog. I think this was overall a pretty big success. I had a lot of 4 stars, a 5-star, and I think a 3-star. Looking back, I think some of my 4 stars could probably be 3. I think I got caught up in the vibes that I was reading for, like comparing it to the movies and watching the movies and just, you know, getting all excited for what I was doing. And so I think that did kind of bump up a few of the books. So I think these are going to be like my final ratings. Of course, if it's a partial, so like 3.5, I do round up to a 4-star because Goodreads does not do half points or half stars, whatever. I had a great time reading for this vlog and filming this vlog. I know it took me forever to get it recorded and edited and put up, but it was just one of those things that I knew I was passionate about and I didn't want to give up on it, even though life around me was kind of crazy. But I am glad that I stuck with it and got it done. I am really excited to kind of maybe create a little series out of this. I already have one movie and book in mind. I think moving forward, I will just pick one movie and then the books that are supposed to give that vibe and just stick to one movie per episode, unless maybe the movies go together or they're like by the same person. For example, I could do like Jim Henson movies together, or I could do Tim Burton movies together, or something like that. If you can think of any of your favorite movies that you would love to see, if there are books that match that vibe, definitely drop them in the comments and I will get to as many as I can. I'm obviously going to do like my favorite movies and possibly even TV shows, but I would love to know like some movies that you want to know, like are there books that give those same vibes so that I can recommend them to you. So definitely let me know down in the comments any movies or TV shows or whatever that I could add to this series and kind of just keep it going on into next year. And I think that would be really fun. So that is it for now. I have already started filming my next vlog and I'm just as excited about that one as I was this one. But hopefully I can stick with that one because it is one that I have to have posted on a certain day. So hopefully this will be up before then and you will be seeing that video soon. But anyways, thanks again for being here. That is it for this one, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye, guys.